Hello, good day viewers. In this tutorial, we are going to find the integral of tan to the fifth of x, secant to the third of x dx. This is a problem that can be solved in less than 30 seconds. But I would like to show all details by making it a little bit longer in order to take all people along. Let's get started with the solution. First of all, I would like to express everything in terms of secant x. But before then, let us reduce them. This can also be expressed as tan to the fourth of x, secant squared x. We have one left here and we have other one here left. So we can write this as tan x secant x dx. Tan to the fourth of x is the same thing as secant squared minus 1 all squared, but I promise to show all details, so let me show that. Remember that sine squared x plus cosine squared x is equal to 1. What if we divide both sides by cosine squared x? To the first term, we have sine squared x divided by cosine squared x, which is the same thing as tan squared x, right? So we have tan squared x. Cosine squared x divided by cosine squared x is 1. So we have plus 1. And this is equal to 1 divided by cosine squared x, which is the same thing as secant squared x. So we have secant squared x. If you take 1 to the right hand side, we have tan squared x equal to secant squared x minus 1. If you square both sides, you have tan squared x all squared equal to secant squared x minus 1 also all squared. Remember, this is the same thing as tan to the fourth of x, which is equal to this. Therefore, we can write this as secant squared x minus 1 all squared. So our integral become secant squared minus 1 all squared. What do we have? We have secant squared x, secant squared x, and the other ones we have tan x secant x. We have tan x secant x dx. So I want to start by using u substitution here. Let u equal to secant x. If you find the derivative of this, du over dx will be equal to tan x secant x. But remember, I promised to show all details, so let me show you how this is possible. Secant x is the same thing as 1 over cosine x, right? So we can write u to be equal to 1 over cosine x. To find the derivative of this, we are going to apply quotient rule. Therefore, du over dx is equal to, you take the bottom, which is cosine x, you multiply by the derivative of the top. If you differentiate the top, which is 1, you're going to obtain 0. Then you subtract. Now you take the top, which is 1, you multiply by the derivative of the bottom, which is going to be negative sine x. If you differentiate cosine x, you divide by the bottom squared, which is cosine squared x. The whole of this will remain 0. Minus will affect minus and it becomes positive. So what we have is sine x divided by cosine squared x, which we can write as 1 over cosine x multiplied by sine x divided by cosine x. Is the same thing. The first one is the same thing as secant x. The second one is tan x, right? It's commutative. Writing tan x secant x or secant x tan x is all the same thing. So this is du over dx. But we want to make du the subject here. Therefore, du is equal to tan x. I can write tan x first. Secant x, then dx. Why? because we have tan x secant x here, right here. So we want to substitute it with the u. So let me copy everything here to continue. So to substitute, remember we have let u to be equal to secant x. Therefore, all right, we should have x here, sorry, secant squared x. So that is going to be u squared minus 1 all squared. Then multiply by also u squared because u is secant x. Then the whole of this is the u from here, right? The u. Now let us expand this. If you expand this, you're going to get the first term squared, which is going to be u to the power of 4. Then minus 2 multiplied by u squared multiplied by 1. We have 2u squared. Then plus 1 squared. The whole of this multiplied by u squared du, right? If you distribute u squared, also you have u to the 4th times u to the 2nd is u to the 6th minus 2 times u squared is 2 u to the 4th. Then 1 squared is 1 times u squared is u squared. All of this du. Now we are going to integrate this in terms of u, right? This is equal to, you add 1 to each power and you divide by the power. So this is going to be 1 divided by 7 u to the power of 7 minus, you add the power to 4, it becomes 5. So you have 2 divided by 5 u to the power of 5. You do the same thing here, you have 1 over 3 u to the power of 3 plus the constant of integration. But remember that u is nothing but secant x, right? So wait, let's substitute it back. This is equal to 1 divided by 7 secant 7 of x minus 2 over 5 secant 5th of x, then plus 1 over 3 secant 3rd of x, then plus the constant of integration. And this is our solution to this integration. Thank you for watching. Do share to your learning colleagues and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more exciting videos. Bye bye.